Hi students, my name is Chirag Shekhar, working as a lecturer in civil engineering, SRRS GPT 6th law. For the subject of first year second sem level survey, and the subject code is 18C 205C. Today I am going to discuss the topic of permanent adjustments of level and contouring. So regarding contouring, in the previous class we have seen the definitions of contours and we have seen the previous class basic definitions, contour intervals and characteristics of contours. Now in this class we are going to see methods of contouring, interpolation of contours, uses of contour maps and instruction on field works. So purpose and uses of contour or contouring map. So what is the purpose and what are the uses? So purpose and uses are generally, you can see, contour survey is carried out at the starting of any engineering project such as road, a railway, a canal, a dam, a building, etc. So this contouring survey is very important because to starting a project work we have to do the levels and we have to check the accuracy of the work. Generally regarding, if suppose coming to an example, a road, in which route the road should be work should be constructed, and what are the any obstructions are coming to constructing a road, just like a building or any rivers, or how many types of culverts are coming, or any pipelines or any electrical wires which are running, we have to check it so that we can identify in the contour maps. And regarding to the railways, the railway track, from which place to which place the track should be going on, or in any rivers, canals or any water pipelines, and in the route which is connecting in the how many cities it is connecting, so we can check by the contour survey. And coming to the canal, the water from where to where it is passing, from which dam to which canals it is supplying, from which villages, from which cities to agricultural fields, whether the water is connecting or not, okay, any agricultural fields are going or not. Before the construction of the project of a canal, so we can identify the major things in the contour map. And coming to a dam also, so in dam the contour map is a key structure because the water level we can identify from the contour map. Where the ground level is higher, where the ground level is lower, we can see from the contour map. So especially in a dam, this contour map is very useful because the water supply, water will be moving on in which direction from up to down, and water will be which laying in the projection of the water in a dam to construct, it will be very useful. And coming to the building also, we can check the place whether it is a urban or a rural areas, or we can see the whether it is a metropolitan city, or at the what type of structure building we can construct in the soil, so we can identify so by the contour map. So that's why contour survey is very important before starting any engineering project. Okay. So these contour maps is generally used for the engineering projects, and contour maps is prepared in order to select the most economical or suitable site. So these contour maps will be prepared in order to select the most economical or suitable site. Generally, suppose coming to example, you can see, so prepare a contour map, we have to select the suitable site for the preparation. So generally it helps to locate the alignment of a canal so that it should follow a ridge line. So a ridge line means it is a line which shows the canal, okay, just like in this way it will be there, the lines, contour lines will be there. So in between this, a line will be there. So this center of the line is called a ridge line. It is showing the canal pathway. So we will call it as a alignment of a canal also. And it helps to mark the alignment of roads and railways so that the quantity of earthwork both in cutting and filling should be minimum. So when the alignment of roads which we are constructed, so we can identify the ground levels. Suppose this is a ground level, so the alignment is straight on the roadway. So we can see wherever like these upside portions are there, we have to do cutting. We have to cut this layer, that is known as cutting. And in the downward portions, wherever it is there, we have to do in this place just like filling. So nothing but this will be happen, this will be identified in the contour maps easily by the ground levels. So it is the upper level and here it will be the lower level. So we can identify here by seeing the contour map. So then we can do the cutting and filling of a alignment of a roads or whether a railways also. And here it helps for getting information about the ground, whether it is flat, undulating or mountainous. So we can see here it will get the information regarding the when the ground is in the flat or just like it is a flat ground or undulating ground or any mountainous type. So we can identify by seeing the contour ground levels in the map. That is easily to identify, and it helps to find the capacity of a reservoir. So we can see by these contour levels how much capacity of reservoir will have and how much quantity of water will also we can identify. That is nothing but volume of earthwork, especially in a mountainous region. So in a mountainous region we can know by the contour levels how much quantity of earthwork will be identified. Okay, so this is the main concept of contour maps. So these contour maps are very useful in construction of dams and capacity of reservoirs. So volume of earthwork in mountainous regions. Okay, and moreover you can see here it helps to trace out the given grade of a particular road. So we can identify the grade of a road. That means in contour maps we can see generally what type of soils are there, red soil, black cotton soil, and which are the roads we can means in the map we can identify the national highways, that is just like 1, 2, 3, which is the national highway number 7, or we can identify by this in the contour maps very easily. And we can see it helps to locate the physical features of the ground such as pond, depression, hill, steep or small slopes. That is known as undulating, rising and falling. So more another point is nothing but we can identify in the contour maps, that is whether a ground or hill portion is in the pond or depression, and the hill type portion and the steep, whether it is a steep type, so we can identify it. So these are all we can identify in contour maps. So that's why these are the uses of contour maps in the surveying. So without contour maps we cannot do the survey very easily. So if the contour maps are there, we can identify the location in the world wherever it is there, what is the place it is there and what is the ground level it is there. We can identify easily by using the benchmarks and the ground levels. Next, uses of contour map. A contour map furnishes information regarding the features of the ground, whether it is flat, undulating or mountainous. So just like now I have said, so we can see the ground is in the position. What is the ground position? Whether it is a flat ground or whether it is a undulating ground, whether it is a mountainous or any hills, plateaus, peak, Mount Everest. So we can identify by these levels. So that is ground is in the flat portion, or whether it is in a undulating position. So whether it is a height position. So these all we can identify by seeing from the plan of a contour map. And here from a contour map, sections may be easily drawn in any direction. So in a contour map, just like you can see here, we can draw from any direction. We can draw from any direction the levels. So that is the main thing in a contour map. Okay, so we can draw from which different types of sections. Okay, and we can identify in which level it is there. Next one is intervisibility between two ground points plotted on map can be ascertained. So that means on the ground points we can see the intervisibility points are there. So we cannot see by the ground levels. So that we can identify in the contour map intervisibility between two ground points. Suppose example, you can see here my diagram which I am drawing. So this is a ground level. So like this it is there. So we cannot see this point and this point at this side. So when we keep the instrument on the level of it, so we can take the by using the staff levels. We can take the staff levels of both, so that we can identify this level and this level in the contour map. But we cannot see on the ground portion intervisibility. That is known as intervisibility between these 2 points. Okay, and it enables an engineer to approximately select the most economical or suitable site for an engineering project such as a road, a railway, a canal or a pipeline, etc. So here the engineer will be selecting the site, whether the site it is in a good condition or not, whether it is suitable for a road work, whether it is suitable for a railway track, whether it is suitable for a canal or a pipeline. So whatever maybe it is the construction of work, so he has to identify in the contour map the route of a road map, or whether it is a route of a railway track, and the canal position which it is going from which places it is passing, and the pipeline work which should go in which direction, and what are the obstructions are facing in the route. So we have to check everything in the contour map. So in which direction which is easily that should be preferred by the engineer. So that will be most economical and suitable site for engineering project, such as selecting completing the soon work project work very fastly with less cost, with less time duration. That is the main concept of use of contour map. And next is a route of a given grade can be traced on the map. So just like I have said now, that is we can identify the which type of route grade. Okay, so highways we can identify in the contour map. And next is catchment area and capacity of a reservoir may be determined from the contour map. So catchment area means the river area or the water surrounding area which is there, that we will call it as catchment area. So just like you can see here the example, so this is the just like a total catchment area. So in this, just like we can see here, so many places will be there, so different factory will be there. So the water which passes here, which comes to the one position, it places the one, store the one position, that is known as catchment area or capacity of a reservoir. Okay, so these also we can identify in the contour map by seeing the levels of the ground. And next is contour map may be used to determine the quantities of earthwork. So this is the another one. Main first thing is for the quantities of earthwork. So on the ground levels, just like a flat ground level, we can taking the level of the ground level with the hinged man. So if we cut this soil at a portion, so we can take the leveling staff up to the bottom here, keeping here, and we can calculate the how much the quantity of soil was digged here. That is known as earthwork, and this can be calculated by length, breadth and depth. Okay, and we can identify or we can calculate more easily by taking the level of natural ground level and taking the level of bottom ground level, that is which is digged at the bottom of the earthwork. So these two levels will be taken and this will be calculated in the contour map, and it is written in the contour map, so that we can identify easily the quantity of earthwork can be calculated. So these are the uses of contour map. So this contour map is useful for the building construction works also, the municipal plan towns also we can see. So layout plans also we will be calling on. Okay, so everything which are there, these all comes under the contour maps only. The next one is factors on which contour interval depends. The contour interval depends upon the following factors. So first one is the nature of the ground. So the nature of the ground means what is the type of the ground. In flat and uniformly sloping country, the contour interval is small, but in broken and mountainous region, the contour interval should be large, otherwise the contours will come too close each other. So that means here the nature of the ground, whether it is in a flat or any undulating area. So you can see in a sloping country, okay, sloping grounds, just like, and the contour interval will be the small. So in sloping places we can see the contour interval gets small, just like a this type of places. In these you can see the levels gets also very smaller. Okay, but in broken and mountainous region, the contour interval should be large, otherwise the contours will come too close to each other. So broken means the mountainous region, just like it will be there very large. So the broken type will be there, very large gaps will be there in these. So in these places we should take the levels very far to identify easily in the contour map, so that otherwise the levels will be coming very close and very near, so that some levels will be same, 2 or 3 levels will be getting same, and some other levels will be different. So that's why we have to take in the mountainous region where the broken parts are there, we should take the larger, okay, we should take the levels very far and we should give the measurements accurately, so that we can identify the nature of the ground, whether it is in a flat or any undulating either or any slope or steep slope area. And the next one is the purpose and extent of the surface. So contour interval is small if the area to be surveyed is small. So you can see here where the contour interval is small, then if the area to be surveyed is small, and the maps are required to be used for the design work or for the determining the quantities of earthwork, etc. So these contour interval is small. When the area is small, the contour interval will also get the small. So we can locate it in the maps for the use of design work, whether the determining the quantities of earthwork. while wider intervals shall have to be kept for larger areas and comparatively less important ones. So coming to your wider interval, that means for the very large areas, the gap of the contour interval should be more. So comparatively to the less important works. So whether it is a earthwork, we have to take the levels in between the ground levels very nearer. So coming to the broken part of the mountain areas, we have to take the contour intervals somewhat far from the point to point. So that here in this the purpose will be more in the contour maps for determining the quantities whether as the larger areas also. And the scale of the map. So this is very important. So scale of the map, how it will be done. The contour interval should be in the inverse ratio to the scale of the map. The smaller the scale, the greater is the contour interval. So this is a very important, the scale of the map. So here, while we are taking the levels, we will be getting in meters. Okay. So here we can 1 meter we cannot draw in the contour map. So but here 1 meter can be, it will be equal to the just like of 1 centimeter in the contour map. Okay. So just like we can see 100 kilometers also will be written as just like 100 mm. So that will be in the 1:100 or 1:200 scale ratio. So that is the contour interval in the inversely ratio to the scale of the map. Okay. So where the smaller the scale, the greater is the contour interval. So here scale will be the small, but the contour interval will be the large. Okay. And time and expense of field and office work. So the smaller the interval, the greater is the amount of field work and plotting work. So after taking the levels and identifying the ground levels in the contour map, we have to do the plotting work. So the plotting work is nothing but the office work. So main, that is of expensing of field. So the lines, contour lines drawing and identifying the levels, calculation of levels. Okay. So these all comes under the plotting work, and we have to plot it on the contour map with the colors. Okay. Whether orange lines, black lines or brown color lines, we have to give different able colors to the different contour lines on the location of the map. Common values of the contour interval. So the following are the common values of the contour interval adapted for various purposes are. So let us see now here some of the common intervals are there. So that is for large scale maps of flat country. So here for larger scale maps, that means very large, or for small scale maps, for large, for flat country, for building sites, for detailed design work and for calculation of quantities of earthwork, we should use 0.2 to 0.5 meters. So this is for the large scale maps. Okay. So large scale maps, that is in the flat positions, in the detailed design works or for the building site works. Okay. And for the calculation of earthworks, that will be taken 0.2 to 0.5 meters. And for reservoirs and town planning schemes, we will be taking 0.5 to 2 meters. So this is also applicable for reservoirs and town planning. Town planning scheme means just like a pipelines, okay, drainage works, next buildings. These are all nothing but town planning schemes. And for location surveys, it is 2 to 3 meters. For location surveys is nothing but identifying the location of a city, of a town, of a place, whether it is a forest area, whether it is agricultural area. So these are nothing but location surveys. And next is for small scale maps. For small scale maps of broken country and general topographic work, that is 3 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters or 25 meters. So here in this, for smaller scale maps of broken countries, okay. So that is the general topographs will be 3 meters, 5 meters and 10 meters or 25 meters. The next one is methods of contouring. So this is very important. What are the methods are there in the contouring and in which method the contouring will be done. So in methods of contouring we are having the two methods. One is direct method and indirect method. So let us see now direct method. So in this method the contours to be located are directly traced out in the field by locating and marking a number of points on each contour. So in this method we will find out on the location of a map directly the contour. These points are then surveyed and plotted on plan. So in direct method, this is the benchmark. The point is located. So our instrument is fixed here. You can see here, and this is a ground level. So these are all ground levels. And from the instrument, first we are taking the benchmark level. That will be the back side, and we will be getting the point of the station, that is known as RL. Okay, after that we will be setting the points. Okay, let us see from the first. You can see here the ground level is, you can see 46, 48, 50. So it is on going on increasing. So from the first here you can see the levels, the first level and the second level and the third and the fourth and the fifth. So we will be seeing on all the levels from the one point to the all points. We can be seeing the levels. So keeping on one station point, we can see all the levels at a point, and we can write the levels here. If suppose here it is 50 and here it will be somewhat 50 point or else some 1. Okay, and here some it will be the 50.2 or else. Okay, so these levels will be recorded here on the ground. So these points are then surveyed and plotted on plan and the contours drawn to them. So when these points are plotted on the plan, okay, on the plan will be in the, like this, a paper, a plotted plan will be there. So on this place we will be drawing the lines, how it will be there. So on this we will be keeping these points. Okay, by keeping these points and we will be writing the levels, then the contour lines will be drawn on the map so that they can identify the contour levels on the what is the level of this area. Okay, so this is nothing but doing directly keeping with the instrument, where the instrument is keeping on the ground here and seeing directly to the levels. Okay, seeing directly levels on the ground by the leveling staff and writing the levels in the field book. So this is known as direct method. After that these levels will be drawn in the map, okay, by plotting. So you can see the example also here, direct method of contouring. So this is our instrument point, you can see here. So from the starting itself you can see 1 or 2 meters, 1 or 3, 1 or 4, 1 or 5. And where here our benchmark is here, this is our benchmark point. So from this point we can identify all the points we can be identified here. You can see here these all points from keeping at one place only. Okay, so this is known as direct method, keeping instrument at one place and identifying all the points and taking the levels. Okay, this is our plan. This is the plan and this is the side view. Okay, side view or front view. So we can see the levels here. This is the A1 ground level, A1, A1. and this D1, D1, C1, C1, D1, D1, and again you can see from it is going on up and again it is coming to the down. D1, D1, C1, C1, D1, D1. So it is going up and again it is coming down. So these levels will be shown on the plan that is known as our contour map. Okay, so that we can identify what is the level of the ground. And next one is, you can see here, the location of a point in topographic survey involves both horizontal as well as vertical control. The method of contouring depends upon the instruments used. So here these contouring also used depending upon the instruments also. So generally we prefer the dumpy level, auto levels and theodolite instruments, or nowadays we are using the total station instruments. So in this we can see here direct method and indirect method. So now in the direct method we have seen that the contour to be plotted is actually placed on the ground. Only those points are surveyed which happen to be plotted and contours are drawn to them. So the method is slow and tedious and is applicable for small areas and where great accuracy is required. So as a lot of time is wasted in searching points of the same elevation for a contour. So here in the direct method it takes more time because the contour points which are there, they will be taken on the plan and they will be plotted on the map. So it takes more time and it is very slow and very tedious. Okay, tedious means very vast portion for finding the points, so that it can take lot of time and wasted in searching of points. Where are the points, we have to search it in the plan and we have to plot it for the same elevation for a contour map. Okay, so this will be happen very slowly in the direct method. So that's why in some cases we may not prefer the direct method. And coming to the indirect method, some suitable guide points are selected and surveyed. The guide points should not necessarily be on the contours but serve as basis for interpolation of contours. So in indirect method, some guide points are selected and they will be surveyed. So these guide points are nothing but they will be necessarily on the contour points. They will be used for the basis of interpolation of contours. Interpolation of contours means the guide points to remember, that means the main points which will be selected, known as interpolation of contours. So this will be happening in the indirect method. So you can see here in direct method some more are there. Each contour is located by determining the positions of a series of points through which the contour passes. So here in each contour it is determining the positions. So the positions means in the series of lines the contour points will be located where the contour will be passes. So coming to the vertical control, the points on the contours are traced either with the help of a level and a staff or hand level. Okay, the level is set at a point to command as much area is possible and is leveled. So the staff is kept on BM and the height of the instrument is determined. If the BM is not nearby, fly leveling may be carried out to establish a temporary benchmark in that area. So if you cannot find out the benchmark nearby, so we can use the fly leveling method to carry the temporary benchmark in that area. So having known the height of the instrument, the staff reading is calculated so that the bottom of the staff is at an elevation equal to the value of contour to be plotted. So if you know the height of the instrument will be known by using the benchmark, so that we can identify the elevation of the ground so that the contour can be plotted. So this is, you can see the RL 800.250. By knowing the benchmark level, so we can take this will be the first one, BS, and this point will be the FS. So this FS we got 0.250, that level. So it can be identified the height of the instrument also. Okay, the HA also can be known, the elevation of the ground level, so that we can take the first level and second level, third level, fourth level. We can go on continuous taking the levels on the ground. So these are Macon contour lines. For example, you can see if the height of the instrument is 800.250, the staff needing to plot a contour of 800 meters. So this is the 800 meters, will be 0.25 meters, taking one contour at a time for 800 meters control. The staff man is directed to keep the staff on those points where staff reading of 0.25 meters is obtained every time. So where we should keep the 0.25 meters. Okay, it is nothing but FS. And the next one is horizontal control. So we have seen now vertical control. So vertical control is nothing but the points on the contours are traced either with the help of a level and a staff or hand lever. So by keeping this staff, we can identify it is in the vertical. So okay, now coming to the horizontal control. After having located the points for various contours vertically, they are to be surveyed with a suitable control system for horizontally located. And for this, the location of points are traced by the method of plane tabling, chain survey, or theodolite. Then the contour are drawn through these points. For accurate contouring, sufficient number of the points at close interval are required. So in this horizontal control, we will be locating the points for various contours vertically. Okay, so they are to be surveyed with a suitable control system for horizontally located. And in this, location of points are traced. So that means the points which are located on the ground, they will be traced by the method. So that is known as by the method of plane tabling we will call, or we can identify by the chain survey or theodolite. Okay, so this is nothing but the horizontal control, and these contours are drawn through these points. So these contour lines on the map can be drawn where the points are there by identifying them. Okay, so for accurate contouring, sufficient number of points at close interval required. So if you want to get the sufficient contour points, we have to take very near the contour levels so that we can get accurate map. The plotted positions of the consecutive points of any contour are simply joined by straight lines to form contour lines. Okay, so these plotted positions are the consecutive points of any contour. So that's why they will be forming the straight lines to form contour lines. So this is a horizontal control. We can see an elevation has given. This is a ground level. It is a good example for you. This is the elevation portion, and our instrument is fixed here. So in this place we will be saying, taking on this on the plan. The point is named as X. So the benchmark is there. Okay, so this benchmark point will be there. So this is called as plan. So we will be taking the levels by keeping peg 1, peg 2, peg 3, peg 4 and peg 5. So after taking these levels, we are writing on this ground. Okay, so this will be extended to the bottom of the ground level. So these levels will be extended to the ground, so that we can draw the contour map. So the levels we can draw here. So this is the horizontal control method. procedure for horizontal control you can see here. To start with a temporary benchmark is established near the area to be surveyed with reference to a permanent benchmark by fly leveling. And here the level is then set up in such a position so that the maximum number of points can be commanded from the instrument station. So the height of instrument is determined by taking a backside on the benchmark and adding it to the RL of benchmark. The staff reading, so as we know the RL of benchmark to calculate that, and the staff reading required to find fixed points on the various contours is determined by subtracting the RL of each of the contours from the height of the instrument. So this is a process we can do in the horizontal control. So these are the example. If the height of the instrument is 82.48 meters, then the staff readings are required to locate 82, 81 and 80 meters contours. Contours are 0.48, 1.48 and 2.48 respectively. So the staff is held on an approximate position of point and then moved up and down the slope until the desired reading is obtained. So the point is marked with a peg. Similarly, various other points are marked on each contour. So the line joining all these points gives the required contour. It may be noted that one contour is located at a time, and having fixed the contours within the range of the instrument, the level is shifted and set up in a new position. So here, fixing the contours within the range of the instrument, the level will be shifted. Okay, the level which is shifted and it is shifted in a new position. So the procedure also, the new height of the instrument and the required staff readings are then calculated in a similar manner and the process repeated till all the contours are located. So the positions of the contour points are located suitably either simultaneous with leveling or afterwards. A theodolite, a compass or a plane table traversing is usually adopted for locating these points. So the points are then plotted on the plan and the contours drawn by joining the corresponding points by dotted curve lines. So the dotted curve lines means, you can see curve means how it will be like this. So these is 1, 2, 3. So just like we will keep the dotted curve points. Okay. So now this is indirect method. So in this method, some suitable guide points are selected and their elevations are found. So these points may form well-shaped geometrical figures. So in this we can get geometrical type shapes. Okay. So the location of such points are plotted by plane tabling and contours are drawn by interpolation. So these guide points do not fall except by coincidence on the contours to be located. So while interpolating, it is considered that the slope between any two adjacent guide points is uniform. So several representative points representing hills, depressions, ridge and valley lines, and the changes in the slope all over the area to be contoured are also observed. So other guide points are then plotted on the plan and the contours drawn by interpolation. So this method of contouring is also known as contouring by spot levels. So in this indirect method, we will be keeping the guide points first of all, and they will be selected, and on that the elevations will be found, and these points will be forming the geometrical figures. Just like geometrical figures means curves, circles, triangles. Okay, and the location of these points will be plotted by which in the plane tabling. Okay, in plane tabling will be plotted and they will be drawn by interpolation. Okay, and these guide points do not fall the except by coincidence on the other contours to be located. So these, which are the guide points which are located, they will not meet the another contour lines. Okay, that is nothing but coincidence. And while interpolating, it is considered that slope between any two adjacent guide points is uniform. So in this point of interpolating, the slope which is there, the guide points which will be there will be uniformly located. So several representative points representing hills, depressions, okay, ridge and valleys, changes in the slope all over the area. So they also be located and shown in the contour map. So okay, the other guide points are then plotted on the plan and they will be drawn by the interpolation. So these are also called spot levels. Okay, so this will be done in the indirect method. So this method is commonly employed in all kinds of surveys, as this is cheaper, quicker and less tedious as compared to direct method. So this method is very fastly and very cheaply we can do very adjacently. Okay, and there are mainly three methods of contouring in direct method. So that's why we prefer the indirect method more easily. So in this indirect method we can do so many contour levels. So up to this class today, thank you. In the next class I am going to discuss the indirect method by square method. Okay.